2021. BERNARDT ESAU and NIGEL VAN WYK versus the state.
As you please, my lord, I appear on behalf of the first applicant in this matter, duly assisted by Mr. Florian Beerkes. As you please.
Please, Your Lordship, I appear on behalf of the second applicant.
Thank you.
Please, my lord, I appear on behalf of the state in this matter, together with Mr. Kutubezi and Mr. Ipinge. And what's on my feet, my lord, I have a slight request. If with the court's indulgence, I have an appointment with the doctor at around 20 to 1. If the court will bear with me, that if you can adjourn around that time, my lord. Yes, my lord.
Okay.
Thank you, my lord.
Thank you.
As you please, my lord. We have no objection whatsoever, obviously. My lord, we're ready to proceed. Mr. Beerkes will continue to lead the witness. As you please.
Thank you, Mayor. Proceed.
As you please, the court, my lordship, may the applicant one please be called to the stand. My apologies, Your Lordship. I'm just informing Mr. Metcalf. I almost said Your Worship.
No, it's fine. It's really fine. Morning, Mr. ESAU.
Morning.
We'll proceed from where we stopped yesterday. Your counsel will continue to lead you. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Lordship. Mr. ESAU, do you still have bundle 1 there with you? The bundle that we referred you to yesterday?
Correct, Your Lordship.
Now, just a brief summation before we proceed, so that we are not lost where we left off yesterday. Yesterday, you in essence testified, at least the last part of your testimony, that the MOU, it was workshop between the Namibian technocrats and also that of the Angolan part. And that Angola came back with a revised intention that they also wanted it to be a binding agreement. No?
Correct,
And
Your Lordship.
you considered that MOU that was then signed to be a valid binding agreement on both countries.
Correct, Your Lordship.
Okay, we can move on then from there. So where we ended off was at Exhibit K, if you can recall, and point number 10, or where we ended.
Correct, Your Lordship.
Okay. And if you turn to number 11, let me rather ask before we go to number 11. So after this interministerial ministers meeting that was held on the 24th of February 2014, what happened in respect of the finalization of the MOU?
Your Lordship, in terms of this interministerial meeting, which was attended by an official of our ministry then, Madam Aina Shekupe Ipinge, who was the Deputy Director in Planning Policy Planning and Economics of the ministry. There was also an observation which I have read into the record yesterday, my lord, on page 9. And after this very interministerial meeting, I was also briefed by the officials, because I was not present at that very meeting. And this very agreement, the scrutinized agreement, was cabled to Angola through the administration of the Ministry of Fisheries, my Lord. It has come to conclusion that the parties, both Namibia and Angola, has agreed instead of an understanding, as it was suggested or advised by the office of the AG. That time it was Honorable Albert Kawana, the AG. And preparations were done after the February meeting that was now on the revised agreement. Preparations were done. Preparations were done for the working visit to Angola, whereby we got all the authority in terms of the assignment of powers by His Excellency, then President Hifikepunye Pohamba, to go and conclude the agreement, as it was also captured in the minutes of the 24th of February. A delegation was composed by the Office of the Permanent Secretary in the person of Madam Uritara Hiverwa, of which she was also a member of part of the delegation. And during the period of 17 to the 18th, the working visit went to Angola for the conclusion of that very agreement.
When you say 17th to the 18th, which month and year are you referring to?
In fact, my Lord, I refer to 2014 in terms of divider 12, whereby I was also briefed by the Embassy of Namibia in Angola on the political situation in Angola.
Let us first deal with the delegation that went. Let us go to number 11 of that bundle. Are you there?
I am there, my Lord.
Can you please identify the document for us and briefly take us through it?
It is a letter from the Ministry of Fisheries and Marine Resources, dated the 9th of June 2014. Subject, invitation for a working visit to the Republic of Angola for the signing of Memorandum of Understanding on Agriculture and Fishery sector.
It then goes on to say that following a letter to your office dated 3rd June 2014, with reference to the above subject, I would like to submit the names of the officials that are to accompany our Honorable Minister of Fisheries and Marine Resources to the Republic of Angola from 17 to 18 June 2014. And
Correct.
then there's a list of 6 officials. Firstly, you can take us through the list.
The list consists out of your Lordship, consists out of Honorable BERNART, the Minister, 2, Uritara Hiverwa, Permanent Secretary, 3, Master Saki Shangara, Chairperson of the Law Reform Commission, 4, Mrs. Aina Ipinge, Deputy Director of Policy Planning and Economics. 5, officials, sorry, my lord, I beg your pardon, Embassy of the Republic of Namibia in the Republic of Angola, and 6, 2 officials, Namibia Broadcasting Corporation. My lord.
I'm sure those officials are not here in court today. But anyway, let's move on, Mr. ESAU. Mr. Shaki Shangala, he's one of the co-accused in this particular matter and the charges that you are facing, correct?
Correct, my lord.
Firstly, who decided on the designation or the parties that should accompany you on this meet? On this trip, sorry.
The delegation who accompanied me to Angola was determined by the office of the Permanent Secretary, Madam Uritara Hiveroa, hence the inquiries to her on this very letter, in terms of this very letter. So, since all the delegations, my lord, are civil servants, with the exception of myself, I was a public servant, and they are paid for, my lord, on the votes of their respective ministries, and not on the vote of the minister, vote 1 of the minister. So the determination of these delegations came from the office of the Permanent Secretary, which was signed off by an acting Permanent Secretary called Master Bonifacius Amute. I submit, my lord.
Do you know why Mr. Shaki Shangala was part of that designation?
I don't know, my lord. I don't know. Because I don't have a say on the delegations that's composed of by the office of the Permanent Secretary.
And did you travel with him on this trip?
My lord, we traveled with the delegation. In fact, to my recollection, my lord, we went with the official falcon from here with the delegation. The presidential falcon, my lord.
And at that point in time, how was your relationship with Mr. Shangala?
My lord, first of all, my relationship with Shangala was cordial. It was not a relationship of friendship, because Shangala is not my peer group, in fact. My lord, the difference between me and Shangala in terms of age is very, very vast, and I have my peer groups with whom I was communicating.
Okay. My lord, if there's no objection, I beg leave to hand up the letter from the acting permanent secretary within the Ministry of Fisheries to be marked as exhibit L. If I'm not mistaken on the numbering.
The light that came was exhibit K. So this will be L. L.
We just have a small logistical issue concerning the air conditioning, my lord. I believe that it's interfering with the
It's NBC that it's interfering with, not the court's recording.
with the recording. But then again, I think the recording is interfering with my flow of air, my lord, and it's quite hot in here.
It's NBC, it's not.
Not the court's recording, NBC is recording, my lord. Was it? It was on at the time, or off?
If it's interfering, you may switch it off. I hope it will not be that hot. But when we take brief adjournments, they should switch it on to try and cool the room.
Yeah, they can switch it off, my lord, no problem.
Yes, you may proceed.
Thank you, my lord. You can continue to explain what then happened on this working mission.
My lord, when we arrived in Angola, in the Republic of Angola, our embassy to the Republic of Angola took me through a briefing session prior to the signing of this very instrument, the agreement, my lord. In divider 12 of this very file, I was briefed on Angola with special reference to the census of 2014. My lord, I was briefed on the political developments in Angola, my lord. I was briefed on page .4 on the economic situation, my lord. I was also briefed on the situation, in conclusion, for me to extend a congratulations to His Excellency, Engineer President José Eduardo dos Santos, for the rapid reconstruction that is taking place in Angola since the end of the war. I was also briefed that I should congratulate his counterpart, inauguration of 3 new modern fishing boats, which took place on the 22nd of April 2014 by the Vice President of Angola.
Yeah, but for brevity's sake and for the citizens of the court, and to move at a bit of a quicker speed, in connection with the MOU, what transpired at that, or did anything transpire concerning the MOU at that session?
The MOU was concluded at that very session by signature, my lord, of myself as then Minister of Fisheries, as an agreement, as well as my counterparts, the then Minister of Fisheries, Honorable Dr. Victoria de Barros Neto. On the 18th of June 2014.
And when did you then return to Namibia?
To my recollection, my lord, we immediately returned to Namibia. I believe the 19th of June 2014. And we came through commercial flight back from Angola. And Namibia then, my lord.
You earlier mentioned or testified, I think it was yesterday, that there was another, not the working mission, there was a fact-finding mission in 2013. Do you recall?
I recall, my lord.
To Angola.
Correct, my lord.
During that visit to Angola, did any of your co-accused accompany you on that visit?
During that fact-finding visit, my lord, to my recollection, Aina Ipinge was part of it. I've also seen Sakib in that very delegation. My PA was also part of the delegation, Madam Chair, and myself was part of that delegation. There were also officials from the Embassy of Namibia in Angola in that very in our delegation, but they are based in Luanda, Angola.
And who determined that delegation of that fact-finding mission?
Again, it's the Office of the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Fisheries and Marine Resources, Madam Ulitara Hiverwa.
Did you have any input in the selection of the delegation?
Not at all, my lord. I don't decide who should come with me or who should not come with me.
Okay. My lord, if there's no objection, I beg leave to hand up the briefing notes of 17 to 19 June 2014 of the Embassy of the Republic of Namibia in Luanda, Angola, to be marked as Exhibit M, my lord.
Maybe before you proceed, Mr. ESAU, I understood you to say that the 3rd of June 2014, you traveled to Angola with the presidential Falcon. And at the same time, I heard you say that you returned with the commercial flight with Air Namibia. Okay. I just wanted to verify that.
What happened to the Falcon?
My lord, it is very expensive to travel with a Falcon and again keep the people, the Falcon's crew in Angola. And it was just for us to be dropped and then for us to come back with commercial flight. So the Falcon returned after dropping us.
Thank you.
To my recollection, my lord.
And then yesterday you testified under number 13 that was the signed agreement, correct?
Correct, my lord. That was the concluded agreement.
My lord, testimony has already been led on this particular document. I then beg leave to hand it up to be marked as Exhibit N, my lord, if there's no objection from the side of my learned friend. Under number 13, divided number 13, my lord, the signed agreement. N, my lord. And my apologies for saying agreement. I must say memorandum of understanding according to my learned friends. Now there's obviously an issue whether this is an agreement or an MOU, and So I want to hand you a document here. Can I also give one to the court? Just give a copy of this one. Okay. Yes, can you please identify the first page for us, or the document for us?
My Lord, this is a letter from the office of the Minister of the Ministry of Fisheries and Marine Resources. This letter was prepared by the officials of the Ministry of Fisheries and Marine Resources. And the letter was dated 20th of October 2014, addressed to the Honorable Dr. Albert Kawana, Minister of Presidential Affairs and the Attorney General, Private Deck 13345, Windhoek, Namibia. Dear Comrade Dr. Kawana, in terms of Section 35 of the Marine Resources Act 2000, Act number 27 of 2000 bracket, the President may conclude fisheries agreements with SADC member states to harvest marine resources in Namibian waters. Under Section 3.1 of the Assignment of Powers Act 1990, Act number 4 of 1990, the President had authorized the Minister to sign the agreements between the Republic of Namibia and the Republic of Mozambique, and the Republic of Angola, respectively. With respect to the agreement with the Republic of Mozambique, the Minister of Marine Fisheries and Marine Resources has delegated that the then Deputy Minister sign on his behalf the agreement between the Republic of Namibia and the Republic of Mozambique. The Minister of Fisheries and Marine Resources in so doing, was empowered to act under Article 37 of the Namibian Constitution. Further, in terms of Section 36 of the Marine Resources Act 2000, bracket Act number 27 of 2000, bracket close, the President must publish by proclamation any such fisheries agreement so concluded. Therefore, the two fisheries agreements having been concluded, it is my pleasure to request you to certify the attached draft proclamations for His Excellency the President's signature and publication in the Gazette.
Do you have page 2 of that particular letter as part of your bundle?
I believe I do have this letter in my bundle.
My Lord, does your Lordship have page 2 of that letter? Because I see that some of the copies that I've made don't have page 2 of that particular letter.
The letter contained in the file.
It's not contained in the file, my Lord. It's an additional page 1. My Lord, I see that the copy that I gave to the to the state, my lord,
And-
indeed has page 2, my lord. If I may just quickly make copies of that one, just for
Yes,
us to
for-
finalize this topic.
He wants to say something.
In the file 22, slide 22 is the complete letter, my lord. Just
Okay.
This one is complete.
Yes. The completed one is there, yes.
so. My lord, can I continue reading the last part of the letter on page 2?
Mr. Biegas?
Yes,
if
that is
necessary.
correct, my lord. You may proceed.
Therefore, the two fisheries agreements have been concluded. It is my pleasure to request you to certify the attached draft proclamations for His Excellency the President's signature and publication in the Gazette. Please find here to attach copies of the signed agreements for your attention as well. As discussed, please consider this as an urgent matter, as the proclamation may be an issue that may be raised in the lodged litigation at NAMSOF. Yours comradely, BERNARDT ESAU, MP, Minister. Enclosed draft proclamations, Angola and Mozambique. Fisheries agreement, Mozambique. Fisheries agreement, Angola. Signed off, BERNARDT ESAU, Minister. Stamped on the 20th of the 10th, 2014. Office of the Minister. Inquiries on this letter refer to Mrs. A. Erastus, comrade. I mean, your lordship.
And the fisheries agreement Angola, what does that mean, or what does it refer to?
Can you repeat, my
The
lord?
fisheries agreement. What are you referring to that is enclosed there? The fisheries agreement that should be gazetted.
That was the agreement, memorandum of understanding between the government of the Republic of Namibia through the Ministry of Fisheries and Marine Resources and the government of the Republic of Angola through the Ministry of Fisheries on cooperation in the areas of fisheries and aquaculture. This very agreement, which was signed on the 18th of
On the 18th of
June 2014. My lord.
Was that agreement then later on gazetted by proclamation?
My lord, this very agreement was gazetted.
Was it gazetted as a fisheries agreement or a memorandum of understanding?
In terms of the proclamation, my lord, number 22, publication of agreement between the government of the Republic of Namibia and the government of the Republic of Angola on cooperation in fisheries and aquaculture, Marine Resources Act. In terms of Article 36 of the Marine Resources Act 2000, bracket Act number 27 of 2000, bracket close, I publish the agreement on cooperation in the areas of fisheries and aquaculture entered into by the government of the Republic of Namibia and the government of Republic of Angola on the 18th of June 2014 as set out in the schedule, given under my hand and seal of the Republic of Namibia at Windhoek this 26th day of July 2015. Hage Gottfried Geingob, President, by order of the President in Cabinet.
Okay. Just a few questions on that. Firstly, this government gazette, is it made known to the public?
My Lord, this government gazette can be obtained from the internet. It is available on the internet. Number two, I have also, in fact, prior to the publication, and made an announcement during my industry address in April 2015 that we have concluded an agreement with Angola, and I want Namibians as well to benefit from this very agreement. And I, my Lord, I have also a copy of my address to the industry on the 15th of April 2015. And if I can, with the permission, my Lord.
I will direct you as we are getting there. Just listen to the questions that I'm asking and then we go through this sequence quickly. So you said this agreement, it's a public document.
It's a public document, my Lord.
This gazette.
Correct, my Lord.
And this gazette says there's a publication of an agreement between the government of the Republic of Namibia and the government of the Republic of Angola.
Correct, my Lord.
Okay. It also refers to the publication of agreement between the parties, correct?
Correct, my Lord.
So the government of the Republic of Namibia, or at least the president, is referring to it as an agreement, correct?
Correct, my Lord.
Can we, members of the public, including yourself, refer to this document, or this MOU, as an agreement, as proclaimed in the government gazette? Can we do that?
It is an agreement, my Lord.
Okay, thank you. My Lord, if there's no objection, I beg leave to hand up, firstly, the letter to Dr. Albert Kawana, dated 20 October 2014, and 22, to be marked as Exhibit O. And then the proclamation of the publication of agreement between the Republic of Namibia and Angola, to be marked as Exhibit P, if there is no objection from the side of my learned friend for the state. No, it's under divider 23, my lord.
Divider
23. My apologies.
Okay.
My lord, if I may, for the court's convenience, if that document may then just be returned to us, my lord, because I see it's a duplication.
It's marked Exhibit P.
Now, Mr. ESAU, it's now safe to say that this agreement that was concluded on the 18th of June 2014. Now, some of the charges that you are facing is that you made a misrepresentation to the government of the Republic of Namibia, which would then include the president. Did you make any such misrepresentations when you concluded that agreement?
My Lord, not at all, my Lord. Not at all. I've never made any misrepresentation to the President, neither to the government of the Republic of Namibia on this very agreement. which was a technical agreement, concluded and for my signature.
And you also testified that you acted on the authority of the then President, Dr. Pohamba. Hifikepunye Pohamba.
Correct, my Lord. I acted on the authority of the President of the Republic of Namibia, the former President Hifikepunye Pohamba, His Excellency.
And you make any misrepresentations
Not at all, my Lord.
to the former President?
Not at all, my Lord. I have never made such misrepresentations to the appointing authority.
And to the current President who gazetted it by proclamation?
Not at all, my Lord. Not at all.
Do you know, as part of your disclosure, whether there were any statements provided by either of His Excellencies that there was misrepresentations made to them?
I have not seen any statement to that effect, my Lord, that I have made misrepresentations to His Excellencies, both the former as well as the current, in terms of this very agreement.
Now let us go back to the sequence of events. So you then signed the agreement on the 18th of June 2014. What then transpired in terms of the implementation of this agreement between the two states?
My Lord, I signed the agreement on the 18th of June 2014. This very agreement was returned. It was brought by the administrators, the officials of the Ministry of Fisheries. This agreement was internalized in the records of the Ministry of Fisheries in terms of the Marine Resources Act. That is section of the Act, section 43(1). If we can go to the Act, my Lord. I don't want us to go there, but these rights, ordinary rights, as well as rights in terms of agreements, fisheries agreements.
And who's responsible for the administration of these fisheries agreements?
It is the Office of the Permanent Secretary and the Administration, Management of the Ministry of Fisheries and Marine Resources.
I want to take you to in the main bundle under number 14. Now, this is a document that was disclosed to us by the state. Do you have any knowledge of this document?
I do have a knowledge of this very document, my Lord.
How
I
did you
do.
come to learn of the document?
My Lord, this document was addressed to me as a minister then of Fisheries and Marine Resources of the Republic of Namibia, Honorable BERNART, the Minister of Fisheries of the Republic of Angola, Madam Victoria de Barros Neto, on the 18th of December 2013. Subject, dear Honorable Ministers, business enterprise cooperation between Namibia and Angola in the fishing sector.
And when was this particular document sent to you? Or was it sent to you?
This document was sent via the office of my office in as the then Minister of Fisheries. And I was provided with this document by my office, and I made a copy of this document.
And what was your understanding of this particular document?
My Lord, when I received this document, I referred this document to the administration of the ministry. I referred it to the office of the permanent secretary then, because during this time, 18th of December 2013, I was with my late brother, who was terminally ill with pancreatic cancer. And he was in the hospital Paramount, admitted, and I was most of the time there with him.
So did you pay any mind to this particular letter, or apply your mind to the letter or the contents thereof at that time?
There was no agreement between Namibia and Angola during that time of the 18th, my Lord, of December 2013. There were still discussions within the ministry, with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs then, on this very agreement. So there was no agreement for this letter's content to really be realized. I've sent it there because I know all applications for rights, all applications for quotas, all applications for licenses are of administrative nature, and it's of technical nature, and it has to be handled by the technocrats of the ministry.
And that is why you sent it to the PS?
Correct, my Lord.
Lord, if there's no objection, I beg leave to hand up this business enterprise cooperation between Namibia and Angola letter to be marked as exhibit Q, P or Q, my Lord.
Exhibit Q.
Exhibit Q. I'm generally not one that would ask for breaks or brief breaks, but I really do require one, my Lord. The heat is intense, my Lord. The sweat is. I even took off my blazer, but that doesn't seem to be working, my Lord. Just a 5-minute breather. Just for the aircon to be switched on a bit and to cool the room at least a bit, my Lord.
You should close the doors when they switch
well
on
as-
the
yes.
aircons.
And get it to the court, my Lord.
John, briefly.
Yes, my lord. Just to report back on the logistical issues, the issue of the NBC mics have been resolved, and we are allowed then to keep the air conditioning on, my lord. So we can now proceed uninterrupted. Mr. ESAU? Oh, apologies, my lord. Thank you, my lord. Mr. ESAU, still on Exhibit Q and number 14. Are you there?
Thanks, my lord. Yes, I'm there, my lord.
You said you earlier testified that you didn't really pay mind to this letter and that you sent it through to the PS, correct?
Correct, my lord.
But now, having considered this particular letter, and as being this document being disclosed to you, do you have any comments on this particular document?
My lord, in terms of letters to the office of the minister or to the officers of the administration, to my knowledge, my lord, I have never experienced a letter or saw a letter addressed to, on one page, to two ministers of two different states pertaining to issues such as agreements. I've never seen one coming from Mozambique even. I've never seen that in terms of Marazul or Beirama, as I have testified yesterday, my lord. I've never seen that. I have, as I have stated as well, since I was really touched by my brother, I was not paying any attention to these letters, and I've referred these letters to the PS, since the PSs are the people who are attending to matters of administrative nature. My lord.
Did you give any permission to Mr. Shangala, should he have drafted this letter, to draft or sign this letter on your behalf or your ministry's behalf?
I cannot delegate any duties or responsibilities to somebody outside the ministry. I cannot delegate that, my lord. I had a deputy minister in the name of the late Kilus Nguvauva that time, and if my memory serves me well, and if I had to delegate any responsibilities as I did for the signature of the Mozambique protocol agreement or MOU, I had to delegate it to somebody who was assigned to me as my deputy and nobody else other than that, or my permanent secretary other than that. I cannot delegate, and the minister cannot delegate that, my lord.
So the answer is no.
No, not at all, my lord.
We can move on. Before we move on, still on that letter, the emblems, is that the normal process of how a government or Namibian official correspondence would be?
I've never seen such in my lifetime as a deputy minister, as a minister, as a member of parliament. I've never seen two parliaments with one letter, two emblems. My Lord.
Let's move on. Mr. ESAU, let's go to number 15. Divider 15. Now this is, I know I'm not allowed to testify, but for the court's convenience, it's one of the documents that was disclosed to us, and you are not a party to this document. It's common cause. But can you please just identify this document for us, and if you have any comments on it, please make such comments.
My Lord, document under Divider 1515 from Saki Edward Shangala, dated the 28th of July, Sunday, 2013, to Mr. Johannes Stefansson from SJA Fishing, subject Opportunity Angola, attachments Opportunity Angola, docs Opportunity Angola diagram, XLSX. Begin forwarded message from Saki Shangala, Opportunity Angola, dated the 28th of July 2013, to Stefansson, to Johannes Stefansson. Dear Johannes, you may notice that I am corresponding to you directly without consulting James and Fitty as yet. Until further notice, that is until I inform you, please do not share this document. I am only sharing it with the minister, as he still needs to discuss with his counterpart. Please make input into it so that he can understand the deal and I can't see this other word, will extract from it something I need to send my counterpart by Monday. Tentative meetings on Saturday next. Therefore, please look into it and we can converse, or you can simply adjust it so I can print and give the minister tomorrow at breakfast. And by the time I get into the airport, we know how to go and you can inform. Bracket, I will copy them, James and Fitty, on the way forward. I trust your understanding, Saki.
Okay. Let's start off with the bottom part of the email, the first part. That is sent on the 28th of July 2013. It indicates that there was a document attached. Opportunity Angola, can you please turn the page?
Correct?
Do you see that particular document?
I see this particular document.
Do you have any knowledge of this document? Have you ever received it?
I've never received such a document unless it was maybe dropped at the offices of my officers.
But have you read it?
No, my lord. I cannot recall reading this document, my lord.
Let's go back to the email. It's indicated here that I'm only sharing it with the minister. Then I will print it and I will give it to the minister tomorrow at breakfast. And by that time I get into the airport. Did you have any meeting with Mr. Shangala on the 29th or the 28th?
My lord, I never had a meeting with Mr. Shangala, Edward, Sakeus. I never had a meeting on the 29th with him at breakfast. I never had a breakfast meeting with him.
Did you have breakfast with him on the 29th or the 28th?
Not at all, my lord.
Were you given any document by Mr. Shangala on any of those 2 days?
Not at all, my lord. Okay.
Were you given any document, any documents on that day, the 28th or the 29th? Yes. And were you aware of this opportunity in Angola that were being discussed?
Not at all, my lord.
Was it discussed with you by any of your co-accused?
Not at all, my lord.
And where were you on the 28th of July, 2013?
My lord, in terms of my passport, traveling, expired passport, I left Angola on the 28th for Namibia, for home. And I was not there as alleged in this very email on the 29th for a brief, because on the 28th of July 2013 I left Angola and I was home on the 28th of July 2013 as per my passport as well.
Can we go there? After that document, there would be, after the Angola opportunity document, can you identify the document for us?
That is the fourth page under, my lord, under 15.
Yes. Please identify the document for us.
My lord, it's a copy of my passport page. There it has a stamp when I depart Luanda. First arrival 24th of July 2013, that's the arrival time. That was for the fact-finding mission. And I depart Angola on the 28th of July 2013. I left the airport of Angola on the 28th.
My lord, if there's no objection, I beg leave to hand up firstly the email with the attachment, Opportunity Angola, to be marked as exhibit R, my lord.
R.
You can make it R1, R2, Opportunity Angola, page 1.
Repeat that. R1.
R1 would be the email, my lord. R2 would be the Opportunity Angola.
Okay.
R3 would be the second page of Opportunity Angola, and then the printout of the passport.
That will be
R4.
Which one is R3?
R3 would be the second page of Opportunity Angola.
Is it not one document?
Okay, it's one document, my lord. I was just thinking for sequencing, but we can then just mark it Opportunity Angola R2, and then we can make R3
The passport.
the passport.
Yes.
If R3, which they want to, document which they want to be labeled as R3,
Yeah.
if they can have a courtesy before we accept it, to see the original, which shows that, because here it doesn't show that it is a passport of the applicant.
Well noted.
Mr. Esau, your original passport, where is it?
This original passport is available with my wife at home. You can get that. I hope she's got it maybe here, if possible, my lord. She's in the chambers here. So.
All right, let's provisionally accept it subject to that objection. Yes.
My lord, we will also be asking for original documents as we move along and when the state presents their case. But it's good for the goose is good for the gander. But we can proceed, my lord. As it please the court. Now, after this agreement was concluded, how was it then implemented? This fisheries agreement between the two countries?
My lord, when this agreement was concluded by both of us on the 18th, the Minister of Angola and myself through signature, as I've stated before, this agreement was brought home and internalized. That means it was factored into the register of the ministry on rights, quotas, licenses. That includes both ordinary rights as well as rights in terms of fisheries agreements. So what happened, my lord, is that the office of the permanent secretary had to brief me what next to happen. And a letter, my lord, was prepared for me, thanking by the PS office, thanking my counterpart for the visit and the conclusion of the agreement.
Would you disclose a copy of that particular letter?
Under 1.8, my lord. Sorry, file divider 1.8. Yes, my lord.
Okay. Is this the letter that you are referring to that was prepared by the permanent secretary?
Correct, my lord. The then permanent secretary, the late Madam Uritara Rivera.
Can you please take us through the letter?
My lord, a letter prepared on my letterhead, then Minister of Fisheries, Honorable Dr. Victoria de Barros Neto, the Minister of Fisheries, Ministry of Fisheries, Luanda, Republic of Angola, dated the 24th of June 2014. Dear Honorable Minister, implementation of the Memorandum of Understanding on cooperation in the areas of fisheries and aquaculture between the Republic of Angola and the Republic of Namibia. Once again, I wish to thank you, honorable colleague, for the invitation, the hospitality accorded to me and my delegation during my just ended visit, and look forward to a productive collaboration between our two sister ministries and countries. As discussed, I would like to implement the agreement straightforward and as provided under the Marine Resources Act 2000, bracket Act number 27 of 2000, bracket close. The government of the Republic of Namibia will cause that the agreement is published in the Government Gazette, and thereafter it is required of us as the fisheries authorities under section 35(2) thereof to nominate the fishing companies that will apply for a quota to harvest marine resources in Namibian waters. Section 35 provides as follows. The President may enter into fisheries agreement with a member country of the Southern African Development Community, providing for such country to harvest marine resources in Namibian waters. A person nominated by the responsible authorities of a party to a fisheries agreement shall be entitled to apply for a quota under section 39 and a license under section 40 as though he or she were the holder of a right. Page 2. Every quota allocated and every license issued to a person entitled under subsection 2 shall be subject to such quantitative or other limits which a fisheries agreement may specify, as well as to all other provisions of this Act. I therefore, my Lord, seek your concurrence, Honorable Minister, that pursuant to Article 8 of the Memorandum of Understanding and Cooperation in Fisheries and Aquaculture, we nominate the Angolan fishing entity Namgoma Peshcaps SA and or its nominee in conjunction with the Namibian fishing entity Namgoma Peshka Namibia Pty Limited to harvest marine resources in the maritime jurisdiction of the Republic of Namibia. Upon receipt of your confirmation, I will inform the entities in writing of your designation under section 35(2) of the Marine Resources Act, read together with Article 8 of the Memorandum of Understanding on Cooperation in Fisheries and Aquaculture. I look forward for your confirmation in this regard and wish to express to you, Honorable Minister, the assurances of my comradely regards to you. Yours sincerely, BERNART ESAU, MP, Minister, stamped 25/6/2014. Stamped after the prepared letter of the 24th of June, 2014.
So you said on the 24th the letter was prepared by the PS and then you signed and stamped it on the 25th?
Yes, I received the letter in my office, my lord, from the office of the PS for me to stamp, and all official correspondence pertaining to this letter must be addressed to the Permanent Secretary.
And in this particular letter, it also nominates then Nemgomar Peshka SA and Nemgomar Peshka Namibia Pty Ltd. You saw that?
Correct, my lord?
No.
Correct.
Who decided on the nomination of these entities?
As I stated, my lord, in the beginning, under that very letter with two emblems, which came to my office, which I've referred to the office of the PS, that letter is also making reference to Namibia Namgoma Peshka. It makes reference to that entity. And I assume, based on the evaluations of the office of the PS and the administration, they have factored into this letter which I've sent to my counterpart, that very name.
And who would be required to do due diligence on the existence and legality of these entities within your office? Would that be you or the PS?
My Lord, I don't have the capacity as a minister. I was a political appointee. I don't have the capacity to do any due diligence or verifications on any entity that is applying for a right or who is nominated, because that very entity must be verified by the administration and the office of the PS, my Lord.
So when it comes to you, should the verification process have been finalized?
I assume, my Lord, because she or he is my principal advisor, my Lord, and I've never ever questioned or refer matters back to the offices of the PS or the offices of the administration.
And the administration, who's responsible for the administration? You previously testified the PS.
It's the permanent secretary who's responsible for the administration. He or she is the accounting officer of the of any ministry.
And you testified that includes applications being made to the permanent secretary, official correspondence being drafted by the permanent secretary, and all official correspondence being received by the permanent secretary. Is that correct?
Correct, my Lord. In terms of the delegated duties and responsibilities, as I have mentioned, my Lord, yesterday, in terms of that regulations for the exploitation of marine resources, it was a delegated responsibility to the office of the permanent secretary prior even to me being appointed or deployed to the ministry.
Okay. And it was also the permanent secretary who decided on the designation of the official team that would travel in respect of this signing and establishment of this MOU.
Correct, my Lord.
Okay. And at that point in time, did you know who Namgoma Peshka SA belonged to, who the shareholders or the directors were?
I never knew who were the shareholders, who were the directors, who were part of the management of Peshka, Namgoma Peshka.
And Namgoma Peshka Namibia Pty Ltd, did you know?
I never knew before even.
I'm talking about now the shareholders and the directors.
Correct, my Lord. I never knew.
You testified that you acted on the advice of the PS and assumed that verification would have been done by the PS.
Correct, my Lord.
Okay. My Lord, if there's no objection, I beg leave to hand up the implementation letter, or the letter dated 24 June 2014 from the Office of the Minister to Honorable Victoria de Barros Neto, to be marked as Exhibit S, my Lord. I believe we just finished the R's.
Exhibit S.
Exhibit S. If you turn the page, and when I say turn the page, we are still under divider number 18. Are you there?
Correct, my lord.
Divider number 18, the third page there. Are you there?
Correct, my lord.
Can you
I am
please
there, my lord.
identify the document for us?
Republic of Namibia, Ministry of Fisheries and Marine Resources, dated 27 June 2014, the Director, Paw Print Investments / Namgoma Peshka, Ru Americo Julio de Carvalho, N138 Bairo Azul, Luanda, Angola. Dear Sir, nomination for a horse mackerel quota allocation. I have the pleasure to inform you that the Minister has nominated your joint venture Paw Print Investment Pty Limited / Namgoma Peshka to apply for a horse mackerel quota in accordance with the Marine Resources Act number 27 of 2000, Article 35, Para 2, bracket 2. The validity of this nomination will be guided by the MOU on cooperation in the fisheries sector between the Republic of Namibia and Angola. Your acceptance of this letter should reach us not later than the 2nd of July 2014. Yours faithfully, Olitara Hivera, Permanent Secretary, signed on the 27th of June 2014. I submit, my lord.
Now, you must clarify this one point first. We see that this letter is under the signature of the Permanent Secretary. Were you aware of this letter?
I was not aware of this letter because I was not copied on this letter even.
Because this letter talks about a paw print investment. And the previous letter that you said that was prepared by the PS referred to Namgoma Peshka SA and Namgoma Peshka Namibia Pty Ltd. You see that?
Correct, my lord. Correct, my lord.
And this paw print investment that the Permanent Secretary wrote to, do you know whether the Permanent Secretary did any due diligence or verification in respect of who paw print is?
I assume, comrade, my lord, that she must have done a due diligence on this very entity for her to have informed me about this very poor print in this very letter which they have prepared for my signature to my counterpart.
So you testified that the Office of the Permanent Secretary would be responsible for administration, would be responsible for due diligence, would be responsible for verification. Was it then incumbent upon the Permanent Secretary to ensure and verify these entities to whom she's writing this correspondence to?
Correct. It was, my lord, incumbent to the PS, Permanent Secretary, and the administration of the ministry for verification of this very due diligence for this very entities.
And is this the same Permanent Secretary that wrote this letter that decided on the designated parties that should attend to these meetings?
Correct, my lord.
And this is this also the very same Permanent Secretary to whom you sent the other letter that you received that you said that you've never seen before and
Correct,
paid no
my
mind
lord.
to?
Yes, correct, my lord.
Okay.
And it was prior to the date of 27th June 2014.
Now, from your experience, you've been a minister for quite some time. Approximately how long? Yesterday was a bit of a tough day for me, and I didn't start with leading you. How long have you been a minister?
My Lord, I've been one of the longest serving ministers of fisheries in marine resources in our Republic of Namibia. As a full cabinet state minister, not as a deputy, but as a state minister in the history of Namibia. Very long, close to 10 years, my Lord.
Can a minister tell or instruct the permanent secretary what to put in a letter and just sign it without verification?
My Lord, as I have stated before, a PS is the principal advisor to a minister. There is no way, she has been, even the PS there, has been one of the founding permanent secretaries of our Republic of Namibia. From independence back 1990, she was already in the administration of our government as a permanent secretary, not as a directly. And I could not really, honestly speaking, personally, I could not dictate or direct administratively the permanent secretary. And I was in fact informed when she was deployed there by the then Prime Minister, Na Sangula, that we are giving you this permanent secretary to help you in the administration. My Lord, this is what I know, and I could not, and it was not the chemistry of me as ESAU BERNARDT.
My Lord, if there's no objection, I beg leave to hand up the letter from the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Fisheries. We can make it exhibit S2, my Lord, and then we can make the first one S1.
Exhibit S2.
You also earlier testified that, well, that should have been yesterday, if my memory serves me correct, that there's a vigorous process that the ministry goes through in order to determine the TAC, the total allowable catch per annum. And
Correct, my Lord.
Okay. And you said that, or you can briefly explain to us again. Just briefly.
My Lord, the determination of the total allowable catch is based on surveys that is carried out by our marine scientists. And in some instances, these very surveys are carried out in conjunction with the private sector in the fishing sector. Now, my Lord, when the surveys are carried out to determine the TACs, this very results of the surveys is discussed by the Marine Resources Advisory Council. And this very council, my Lord, consists out of the scientist, marine scientist. It consists out of marine economist. It consists out of the fishing industry. It consists also out of the trade unions. I have included the trade unions there as appointed. I took it to cabinet. That body interrogates the reports coming from the scientists, the reports, the socio-economic reports coming from the marine economist in the Ministry of Fisheries and Marine Resources for each and every fisheries, for hake, for horse mackerel, for monk, for crab, you name them, for sardinella, sardines, pilchards. They are the ones who are preparing the TACs, the total allowable catch, for a season per fisheries. And they present or make recommendations to the minister, which the minister takes to the cabinet, my lord, for further discussions and for concurrence for the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting to announce to the public, which is still the practice today. What I have observed, my lord, I submit, my lord. Let me stop here first.
You can summarize a bit now and then, but it's okay. It's your opportunity in your day in court. Now, Mr. ESAU, let's go to, thank you for that explanation. Let's go to divider number 19. And then you please identify the document for us.
Republic of Namibia, Ministry of Fisheries and Marine Resources, internal memorandum to the Honorable Bernard ESAU Minister, copied CC to Honorable Chief Samuel Ankama, Deputy Minister, the late, from Mrs. Ulitara Hiverwa, Permanent Secretary, date the 1st of July, 2014. Subject, additional horse mackerel quota allocations for the 2014 fishing season. Introduction, the proposed total allowable catch, TAC, for the 2014 fishing season has been set at 350 metric tons. This is the same as the 2013 fishing season. 1-1 initial allocation for 2014. During 2014 initial allocation, 220,000 metric tons was allocated to the midwater fishery on pro rata. An allocation of 16,000 metric tons was made to the non-right holders, which include Namibian Fish Consumption Promotion Trust, NFCPT, and Gentef Group for the horse mackerel land-based processing. Proposed allocations 2.1 allocation of 92,104 metric tons of horse mackerel is to be allocated as follows: 50,104 metric tons to be allocated to all right holders, 42,000 metric tons to be allocated to non-right holders. Page 2.
So just
Next
to stop
page.
there, let me ask you questions in between.
Yes, my lord.
Otherwise, we might doze off like some of our colleagues. This particular internal memorandum was prepared by the permanent secretary, correct?
Correct, my lord.
And that is the same permanent secretary that we refer to.
Correct, my lord.
And here there's a proposal that 50,104 metric tons be allocated to right holders
Correct, my lord.
and 42,000 to non-right holders.
Correct, my lord.
And in order for the permanent secretary to prepare such a internal memorandum requesting for approval or proposing for additional horse mackerel quotas to be allocated, does she go through a process or he go through a process before making such submission?
My lord, when such submission is made, to my understanding, to my experience in the ministry, is that the PS is going through a process administratively. She goes through a process with the staff of the Ministry of Fisheries, which is the Directorate of Policy Planning and Economics.
Okay.
After, and that is after the concurrence of Cabinet on the TAC, because there's a Cabinet submission as well, which is normally, in fact, prepared by the PS after the MRAC, the Marine Resources Advisory Council meeting, for signature by the Minister and to go and take it to Cabinet.
And then, if you turn to page 2, I will take you briefly through and ask you a few questions. Allocation of 42,000 metric tons to non-right holders to be allocated as follows. 10,000 metric tons to National Fishing Corporation, Fishcore, Namibia-Mozambique Agreement, 8,000 metric tons to Oasis, 1,500 metric tons to Marazul, and 1,500 metric tons to Beirama.
Correct, my lord.
And 8,000 to Small Pelagic Association, and 7,000 metric tons to Namibia-Angola Bilateral Agreement.
Correct, my lord.
Do you know what Namibia-Angola Bilateral Agreement the PS was referring to? That must get 7,000 metric tons?
It was, my lord, she was referring to the concluded agreement, which was signed on the 18th of June, 2014, my lord.
So it was the permanent secretary who proposed to you as the minister how much should be given to them?
Correct, my lord.
Okay. And also the 10,000 metric tons to the National Fishing Corporation.
Correct, my lord.
And it would appear that the 2,000 metric tons also went to Namibia Fishing Consumption and Promotion Trust.
Correct, my lord.
Okay. Now, who are those companies that are listed there as non-right holders? Can you please explain how these non-right holders are allocated quotas? Because you look at the top, it says allocation of 42,000 metric tons to non-right holders.
Those non-right holders, my lord, was determined by the administration and proposed or recommended to the minister. So these non-right holders were all coming from the administration of Ministry of Fisheries and the Office of the Permanent Secretary, who sent this memo to the minister.
So, Fishcore did not have rights. They were non-right holders.
According to this internal memo.
Internal memo. We will get to the Fishcore part later. Namibia, Mozambique, there's an agreement in place, a fisheries agreement in place.
Correct, my lord.
Okay. Namibia-Angola bilateral agreement, it refers to an agreement. Sorry, you wanted to say something?
My lord, on Namibia-Angola there was an agreement already prior to my time. When before 2010, before I was assigned or deployed to the ministry or appointed to the Ministry of Fisheries and Marine Resources. And Oasis was the only company first. And that agreement was not even gazetted.
And Small Pelagic Association,
It was determined by the administration, my lord.
was there an agreement with them in place? Were they entitled to receive quotas at that
There-
point in time?
My lord, there was no agreement. There was no agreement. These are proposals coming from the administration and from the office of the PS. There was no agreement, my lord, to be frank.
If you can recall at that point in time, in terms of the Marine Resources Act, in terms of the Act, your relevant Act, were they entitled to receive quotas?
2014, my lord, there was a court case between NAMSOF as an applicant against the Ministry of Fisheries and Marine Resources and the others. That's the government of the Republic of Namibia, as well as Fishco as respondents. And my lord, at that, the judgment of that very litigation was no quotas should be allocated to non-right holders. That was the judgment of that very case, which was the Honorable Justice Uitele gave a judgment on an order in the month of December, and the judgment was given in January, early January 2015. And I was represented, and the government of the Republic of Namibia was represented by Dr. Saki Akwenda. He was representing, who is now also fighting me in the poker.
We will get there. Mr. ESAU.
Sorry, my lord.
This is common cause, and I hope that there will be no objection to this. Small Pelagic, GenDev, Namibia Fish Consumption Trust, Large Pelagic and Hake Longling Association, those non-right holders and Fishcore, they were part of the respondents in that case of NAMSOF. Are you aware thereof?
I am aware of that, my lord, in the court case, I think C241.
And in terms of the charges that you are facing, were you charged for the awarding of quotas to non-right holders such as Small Pelagic Association?
In terms of the charges, my lord, that I'm facing today is that I've misused, I've contravened, in fact.
Mr. Yesau, sorry for interrupting you, sir. Just listen to the question. Are you charged for awarding or allocating quotas to Small Pelagic Association and Namibia Fish Consumption and Promotion Trust
I am charged for
and
awarding,
GenDev?
I'm charged having awarded quotas to National Fish Corps.
Yes.
I am charged for awarding or allocating quotas for the bilateral agreement Namibia-Angola with special reference to Nam-Goma.
Yes.
The rest, presently, I am not charged for.
The rest.
The rest
They
I'm
were
not
also,
charged for.
they were also non-right holders, and you said the judgment of NAMSOF said it was illegal. You were not charged for those.
Yeah, in terms of the 2014 2014, the ruling
Yes.
was not, with the exception, the ruling was that we should not allocate quotas to non-right holders, with the exception of the Namibia Fish Consumption Promotion Trust.
Okay. But the rest were. And these were the companies or the entities that were recommended to you by the permanent secretary.
Correct, my lord.
Let's go on. At number 3, points of consideration.
I am together, my lord.
The second last bullet, under point number 3,
Correct, my lord.
it reads, the allocation of 10,000 metric tons to Fish Corps is given as a bailout quota and it is once off.
Correct, my lord.
Do you know what that bailout was for? It was for your consideration from the PS.
As briefed, my lord, by the PS and the administration or management of the Ministry of Fisheries, Fishco was technically insolvent. And the PS, by then, the late, was also serving on the board of Fishco by virtue of her position as a permanent secretary in the Ministry of Fisheries. My lord, the PS brought under my attention the audited annual financial statements of Fishco, ending April 2014, if my memory serves me well, whereby, my lord, a qualified audit opinion was provided by Steer and Fender. And she told me that she's afraid that the board of directors have a fiducial responsibility and they might stand to be charged for reckless trading because the current liabilities exceeded the current assets. And based on that, therefore, the 10,000 metric tons of horse mackerel is for consideration and recommendation from the PS officers and the administration.
Because this PS was also on the board of Fish Corps.
Correct, my lord.
Okay. And then we move on to the recommendations. The recommendation says, it is recommended that the Honorable Minister approve the quota allocations of 92,104 metric tons as per the table attached.
Correct, my lord.
And then there at the bottom it provides now for the Minister to either say approved or not approved. And what did you do?
I accept, my lord.
Okay. Now there's also a note there next to it. Can you please take
Correct,
us through
correct,
that
my lord.
handwritten note?
When I was presented with this very internal memo with the recommendations to accept the allocations of quotas to right as well as non-right holders, I made a note because I was told that why are you not making notes? Why are you not making observations? Why are you quiet? I was saying, no, let me make a note for you then. And I pointed out point of consideration. The Namibia-Angola bilateral agreement is allocated on a reciprocal basis. I can't see this one very well. To Namgoma Peshka, Namibia, and Namgoma Peshka Pty Angola. LTT, sorry, my lord, LTT Angola. That's the note I made, that why are we only to give but not receive as a country on a bilateral basis?
And
That was my observation.
your point of consideration
Yes,
is indicated there.
consideration, my lord.
And the names of these two companies, are they the same that you are referring to here as the letter that was prepared by the PS earlier on the 24th of June 2014?
Namgoma Namibia Pty Limited and Namgoma Pesca Limitada or Angola are two different companies, but to my understanding was that Namgoma Pesca was the owner in terms of shares of Namgoma Pesca Namibia.
And when such an internal memorandum comes to you, should there have been a due diligence or verification process conducted by the person who prepared this internal memo for you?
Correct, my lord. They suppose that was the task of them, because I never had the capacity in the office of the minister as a political office bearer. I was relying 110% from the office of the PS and the administration of the ministry.
My lord, if there's no objection, I beg leave to hand up the internal memorandum from the permanent secretary to the minister, dated 1 July 2014, to be marked as Exhibit T. T for time, my lord. I see it's now 30 minutes past 12. My learned friend indicated that he has a doctor's appointment 20 minutes to
What is the time?
12:30, my lord.
Okay.
My learned friend indicated his appointment 20 minutes to. I think he still needs a bit of time to travel, so I believe this would be an opportune moment to break for lunch, my lord.
The document is under divide 19. It's marked Exhibit T. Since we are adjourning much earlier, can we resume at 1400 hours?
Perfect, my lord. 1400 hours is perfect.
Is that fine?
Oh, it depends.
It's in order, my lord.
Okay, thank you. We'll adjourn till 1400 hours.